give you some
beautiful.
good tips.
Yeah.
It's a great spot. I've been a bunch.
Yeah.
For me, the most crazy place I've ever been is the pyramids, which are incredible. And the place I'd most like to be. Oh, we have Sean McVay right now.
Let's ask Sean that question.
Yeah, Coach Sean McVay, thanks for coming on. How are you, man?
Good, how you guys?
We're doing great, Coach. Hey, Coach, where's the most beautiful place you've ever been in the world?
Most beautiful place in the world?
Yeah.
Shoot, I mean, what did you guys say to that question?
I said the pyramids in Egypt.
I said Lake Como in Italy.
Yeah, I went to Lake Como this past summer. It's hard for me to say that's not right up there. Mykonos and Greece is a pretty beautiful place too. So those are some places that come to mind for me without a doubt.
Those are great spots.
Those are both great.
Great spots.
All right, so we won't spend too much time on the Cincinnati game, but let's ask you a couple of questions about it. Coach, I said the day after that game that in my opinion, and I'm a novice, certainly compared to you, I thought it all kind of started and ended at the line of scrimmage. For whatever reason, and I don't want to take anything away from Cincinnati's pass rush, they were awesome, but we couldn't block them, and that made things difficult. Couldn't run. Matt Stafford didn't have a lot of time to throw. Am I overstating the problem? Is it too simple to say that it was lost at the line of scrimmage?
Well, I think there were some situations where, they did a good job applying pressure, and it's not exclusive to our linemen. There was some communication. There were some different things that we should have done to handle it better. I think that was a part of it, but I think it boils down to not finishing those red zone drives early on in the game. If we score on the first possession, when we get down and back in there on the third possession, and it's a 14-point game, 14-3, I think it totally changes the feel and the flow of the game. And so one of the areas that we've been really good has been on third down in the red area offensively through the first 2 weeks, and that wasn't reflected the other night for a variety of reasons. But I think that's what the keys to the game were, in my opinion.
I personally thought Tutu Atwell scored on that streak down the sideline. Did you?
Yeah, that was what we hoped, but unfortunately it didn't go down that way. And ultimately what we got to figure out is how to be better. And from the 3-yard line, you can't go backwards on first down. And then, you got to be able to execute. And we didn't get it done right there. I make no excuses. And we're excited about the opportunity to be able to move forward the right way.
So what's the health of the offensive line going forward, starting with the Indy game on Sunday?
We'll continue to monitor that. Today, just because we played on Monday night, we'll just have an above-the-neck kind of walk-through type of day. Alaric Jackson is feeling better. Whether or not he's able to go or not will be something that we'll have a better feel for as we get closer to the game. And then Joe Noteboom was able to return, but we'll continue to take it a day at a time. And we're able to have those guys. That's a great thing. If not, then we got to figure out how to adjust and adapt accordingly.
Sean McVay, the Rams coach, is our guest. Coach, it looks like Anthony Richardson might play for the Colts. This guy's a tank. He was a starting quarterback at Florida, and the Colts drafted him in the top 5. How do you prepare for a guy like that? Is it just business as usual, or do you have to specifically address the fact that he's kind of like Cam Newton? He's so big, he's hard to tackle. How do you deal with a guy like that?
Oh, he's a really good player. I think Coach Steichen does an excellent job of presenting a variety of issues and utilizing his skill set accordingly. But whether it's him or Gardner Minshew, they've done a really nice job in these first 3 weeks, and so we've got to be able to prepare accordingly. But you see the stuff that's been put on tape. You understand some of the different things that they can do and the skill sets that each of those players have, and you have to be ready to go.
I don't know if you heard this or not. I'm going to ask a hard-hitting football question here, Coach.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if you heard this or not, but Travis Kelce appears to be dating Taylor Swift. It's the talk of the league. What's your reaction?
Hey, good for those two. It's good to see two special people paired up. I did see that. She was fired up cheering him on, and I'm a big Travis Kelce fan, and she's a superstar with the tour and all her hits, and so it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, Sean, this is I'm sure you've seen this tape. This is back when your family was running the Niners, that Joe Montana, right in the middle of a game one time, goes, "Hey, there's John Candy. He's right over there on the sidelines," and it calmed everybody down. You work in Hollywood. You're the coach. I mean, Taylor Swift is in Kansas City. And I know you are locked in on football, and you're kind of just dialed in. Have you ever had one of those moments where you look up either on the scoreboard or in the stands and see somebody famous and say to yourself, what the heck is he doing here? Is she doing here? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, I mean, that happens quite frequently. I can remember early on in the tenure there when we were playing at the Coliseum, YG would get up there and go crazy and be supporting us. But no, there's been multiple examples and experiences. I can remember they put Dre up on the screen. Got a chance to see LeBron and Peyton Manning before a game against the Cowboys, the divisional round at the Coliseum. But that has been a pretty cool thing that you don't take for granted.
I wonder this because there's obviously a lot of hoopla about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and all that stuff. And I wondered, and it seems to me like that could be a gigantic distraction. If one of your players all of a sudden started dating Kim Kardashian, it became a social media sensation. Would you worry about that becoming a distraction?
No. I think it's great that these guys are able to live their lives. I think one of the things is that you respect that, hey, this is a job, even though a lot of people love to pay close attention to it because it becomes one of their hobbies. But that's not something that I worry about as long as it doesn't affect their ability to play at a high level. And I think that's a fun part of being able to have some of these personal relationships is getting to know guys and their families or, whether it be their girlfriends or however they go about it.
Sean, the question we get the most around here is when might we see Cooper Kupp? And I know it's a process, and so listeners know he's ineligible to play against Indianapolis. Even if he wanted to, Sean couldn't play him. But he comes off of that list, Sean, after the Colts game. How confident or how hopeful are you that we could see Cooper Kupp against the Eagles?
I think we're hopeful and optimistic, but again, we're taking it a day at a time. He's got a very strict rehab process that he's going through, and so we don't want to rush that. It'll obviously be a huge boost when we're able to get Cooper back with us, but we want him to be able to return to performance, not just get out there and be able to play. And so we'll learn a lot of information based on, kind of ramping up his progression this week, and hopefully that'll give us some clarity as it relates to how we want to approach next week.
We read a story this week that I thought was really cool that Puka Nacua has started to crash the breakfast that Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp have when they're together at the facility just to see if he can glom onto information and get to know the work habits of both Stafford and Kupp. I would imagine as his head coach that you would encourage something like that. Anybody who can find the time to get in that meeting with Stafford and Kupp.
Yeah, and soak it up.
And even if it's just casual like that, I would imagine that's something that gets your approval.
There's no question. I think you love to see the rapport developed amongst the players, being on the same page. There's so much information that they're responsible for digesting, but I think when they are able to put their own ownership on it, when you've got veteran players like Matthew and Cooper that have experience and an ownership of what we're trying to get done and understand the intent, the more that they can communicate that to some of the younger players or guys that maybe don't have as much experience, the better we're going to be as a team. And I think that'll be a key focal point for us moving forward because I thought just the overall communication and the clarity from an offensive perspective the other night were some of the things that hurt our ability to execute, and we'll make sure we get that cleaned up.
All right. Well, listen, Coach, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it, and best of luck Sunday at Indy. We will be watching close, man.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
This is Coach Sean McVay as he joins us every week, and it's brought to you by Service Titan, the all-in-one solution that connects your entire HVAC, electrical, and plumbing operation on a single software platform, helping make the combination we love every Ram season. Coach Sean McVay with Mason and Ireland every single week. You're listening to KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station. So are we going to break or not going to break? We are going to break, so I didn't really need to do that. I like doing it because it's fun. Remember, it used to be a game.
Yes, it was a fun game that you guys had.
Yeah. But
now you can go to break because
it's
time.
Yeah, it's time. All right, 2 o'clock call of the daytime. Oh, by the way, don't forget lie of the day.